I'd like to call the meeting to order. Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Linda Varvel. Here. Craig Romey.
Present.
Larry Pratt.
Here.
Melissa Niles.
Present.
Bill Lukens.
Here.
Deborah Johnston.
Present.
J.R. Huddleston.
Here.
David Burris.
Here.
Thank you.
Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, a reminder, if you have a conflict of interest, please let the council know before you vote. And we've been doing much better with the microphones. Remember, they are your friend. Get up close and personal with them. Make sure the audience can hear you. And the folks that watch us online. So, with that, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. A motion to approve the minutes from the April 17th
I make a
meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes, April 17th council meeting.
Second.
We have an enthusiastic council tonight. Discussion?
Let's go.
Overachievers.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Motion to approve the bills in between.
I make a motion to approve the bills in between for $149,868.35. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Motion to approve the current claims.
I make a motion to approve the current claims.
$93,033.35.
Second.
Good job.
Oh, we have quite the competition.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And a motion to approve the Wells Fargo credit card claims.
I make a motion to approve the Wells Fargo credit card claims in the amount of $6,804.88.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Communications from the public. Do we have anybody who'd like to address the council? Come on up, sir.
You ought to be able to hear me from here.
Got to go to the mic, please.
You got to go to the mic so it's on film.
Name, rank, and serial number.
You would state your name and
Dennis Wilson,
Address, please.
1540 Baltimore. Hot Springs, South Dakota, 57747.
thank you.
Okay, I got a complaint. Got a pothole over on Baltimore where they dug up the sewer about, 2 years ago. And I'm not sure who did it, but I know you guys got on him. And he come up there and put a little asphalt in there. You can't drive across that thing 5 miles north without throwing yourself out of your car. And I think it was a contractor that you guys hired to get it done. And I wonder why you haven't been getting on him to get it fixed.
I brought that up a couple times in Public Works.
And what good did it do?
I brought it up a couple times in Public Works.
Okay,
Where's that at on Baltimore, sir?
pardon me?
Where's that at, actually,
You know
roughly?
where Bethesda Lutheran Church is?
Yes.
It's about a block, half a block. Let me see if I got the address. It's between 14th and 15th Street.
Okay.
And that thing's about this deep, you know, where it sunk in. And they never came back and fixed it after it, you know, they didn't tamp it good enough.
Okay.
Thank you for that, and it's for everyone out there. We do have a new portal on our city website where you can go in and write issues that need to be dealt with,
Okay.
and we can get them prioritized that way and not lost and forgotten.
And the other thing I have is the nuisance ordinance you guys have. I think you hired somebody to take care of it. Well, I don't think there's much getting done about it. People treat their property like junkyards, or they're hoarders, or I don't know what. But the place that I worry about the most is on the corner of Canton and 14th. You guys got a bunch of cars across there, and coming down that street, especially in the wintertime, you can't fit 2 cars through there without getting in trouble with the snow. And there's a lot of other places in town too that's got cars. That's my complaint. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis. Anyone else would like to address council? All right, on to council updates, Public Works, Tracy?
Well, good evening, and it does appear that maybe spring has finally come. And the orange flowers are blooming, or I do mean the the traffic cones. Yeah, as far as the highway project, the main contractor, Complete Concrete, has pretty much gone into, I think, full force. I see an awful lot of activity. They're doing all the undercut over here on the southbound lane of Chicago Street, all the way through there. As far as utilities, there's not a whole lot going on right now. Most of our utility work really is going to be mostly next year now with what goes on north, on North River Street. There is some sewer that will be replaced down by First Interstate Bank when they flip over to the others. Well, actually, they're probably going to be doing that not that far down the road. We'll know more tomorrow for sure on what their schedule, when they want to do that, because part of it they have to do where the road is shut off as it is now, and then part of it they have to do when they flip it over, so they have to sequence that. Yeah, other than a lot of activity that you see out there with the prep for the road base, and of course there's a lot of storm sewers been going in on Chicago Street, and I see that they're kind of starting to fill in some of the gaps here and there. The area on Albany, on the west side of the Albany-Chicago Street intersection, I noticed that was being poured this afternoon. That perpetual drainage trouble spot that has been holding water for quite a while. So it was good to see that getting poured in there. And I guess at this point, if council has any questions, I'll field your questions.
What's the water department doing in Chicago? I see them digging today a couple.
We are adjusting and changing out some curb stops. We also have some areas where there's abandoned services that we have to take them out. We want to make sure that there's nothing live, left under the new sidewalk and under the new street.
Yeah.
Tracy, I've also noticed after they unload some of their heavy equipment, they're taking their trailers and parking on their sidewalk. Is that going to create stress on the sidewalks?
The general contractor's doing that?
Right.
We probably should address that at the contractors meeting that we have on Tuesday mornings. Yeah.
Thank you.
What location was that at?
Brain cramps, sir.
And is it new? Is it the new sidewalk they've already poured?
No, it's our sidewalk. It's already there.
Okay.
I think today the one I saw was in front of the across from. I'm not having a good night, people. Across from Black Hills Federal Credit.
Excuse me.
Oh, the sidewalk on the east side of Chicago? That sidewalk will be all replaced, though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, all of the sidewalk will be replaced. Not that, just as long as they aren't parking on their new sidewalks, that would not be good.
No, thank you.
And it could be a problem for pedestrians if they are parking on the sidewalk and blocking that, so we can ask about it tomorrow.
That can be replaced in front of Ace,
Yes,
because people park on there all the time because it's
Yeah.
so short.
yeah, all the sidewalk,
Okay.
yeah, it all gets replaced.
Is there going to be a solution to, right now, while the road project's going on, is there something that might be brought up to meeting too? I've noticed a lot more of our handicap on scooters are taken down the street instead of going on the sidewalks now. Is there some way to fix that problem for them?
There again, that will be an issue that we'll need to discuss, at the contractor meeting tomorrow. And DOT takes a lot of interest, I think, in the accessibility for the handicapped access. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Thank you.
Where are you seeing the handicap folks?
I seen one 3 mornings ago, was coming right in front of City Hall. And he was coming right in front of all the cars. He was traveling down the road just getting it.
There ain't no sidewalk big enough for scooters.
Yeah. But I know that they can take the Freedom Trail, but most don't want to be on that side of the street to be closer to the businesses. So I'm just,
Yeah, that one, there's not a lot of room there. They narrowed that down quite a bit.
Do you know when they will be pouring that side of the road?
There again, we'll have, we get pretty much a 2-week outlook at each weekly meeting. I get the impression it's not that far away, but I couldn't say, really can't speak on behalf of the general contractor or DOT on that.
When you say pour on that part of the road,
Along the buildings where they'll be replacing that sidewalk and
so we've been talking on North River Street, and we've been talking on South Chicago.
North-
Which one?
North River Street is
Okay.
where he saw the handicapped person.
So as Tracy said, we'll get a better idea tomorrow, but they have been talking about the fact that Core Construction has been on the east side, the west side of the road, doing the foundations. We think they're mostly done with that, and they'll begin shifting the traffic from the west side over to the east side. Now, they'll be shifting it from the east side to the west side, so they can begin finishing the road on the east side of North River Street. I'm hopeful that'll happen in a couple of weeks, as long as the weather cooperates with them and nothing else goes south for them. Any other questions for Tracy?
When will we get back to Boardwalk Hill?
The concrete work, well, you've probably noticed that that is underway.
Right.
So that was a very important first step that, it just took a while to get someone that was able to come in and do that. So we'll be in contact with the pavers, and hopefully we'll have a date pretty soon.
All the concrete work's done.
I don't think it's done yet, but a lot of it was formed. I was up there night before last in that neighborhood.
The conversations we had last year about that section of Albany is that once the curb and gutter work was done, then we'd coordinate with Simon when they're delivering asphalt for the road project to get some asphalt delivered up there.
Tracy, is it possible have we ever done this before? The question is, like on Dakota Street, South Dakota Street, there's 3 homes, about 3.5 homes along the road that we put gravel on, but it keeps getting washed out. Is it possible for the city to look at something like that? I've been asked by other,
To do asphalt or
no,
more
just
concrete?
to lay rock, like 1
Oh,
inch
just
rock.
lay more rock?
Yeah, because it's pretty much washed out and is being crushed in. So I was
Yeah, we can,
approached by one of the,
okay. Yeah, I can talk to Billy.
Yeah, it's on South Dakota.
yeah,
It might be something that needs a little bit larger rock. you know,
could be.
than-
I would probably go with
Yeah.
a larger rock, but
Yeah.
just one on the corner has lost quite a bit of his gravel. It's washing down. So I guess they've had a conversation and included me on the rear end, so.
And this is mostly in the street or just right where their driveway is
it's-
on the street?
Just
Yeah.
off the shoulder. And it's where, like they say, they have company park, they have the mailman parks there, delivery trucks, they pull off to the side so you can get around them. So it is kind of necessary.
All right. Any other road reconstruction questions for Tracy? Thanks, Tracy.
All right.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
I would like to add some information for the, related to the road reconstruction. Since the construction's been happening from Detroit up to Medicata, there has been a width and a length restriction in place by the Department of Transportation. The width restriction is 10 feet and the length restrictions has been 40 feet. Last week I had a business owner on North River Street ask if there's something that we and the state and the contractor could do to help them out. They had one of their delivery businesses that had told the driver that because there are restrictions there, the semi that is used to deliver the supplies to him could not go in that section. So they missed a delivery. Had a conversation with Matt Rippentrop with the state, Peyton Wire with the state, Seth with Complete, Scott with Complete, Rich Zocker with the state, about what we could do for that particular section up there. And the state has agreed to remove the 40, to move, not remove, but to move the 40-foot restriction from Minnetonka down to Jennings. And the state and the contractor also opened up a parking area, loading and unloading area on the west side of the river, right across from those businesses on the north end. Minnetonka Coffee, Morning Sunshine. So if you've noticed the signs up there, there's no parking and it's loading and unloading only. So what will need to happen is the long length vehicles will actually be able to get down North River Street. They won't be able to turn at the police station. They'll have to continue straight through that intersection onto that half a block of River Street between Jennings and University so that they can turn up University. But that at least gives an opportunity for those business owners to get their supplies and everything delivered to them. So that's what we'll be doing on North River Street. We also need to recognize that people are beginning to find a way around the construction. We've seen a Pepsi semi on Minnetonka and 23rd Street. On the south end of the project, the width restrictions and length restrictions start at Detroit Avenue heading north. So we have Ace Hardware that will be affected by those restrictions. If we don't find a different way for them to be able to deliver. Yesway also has a fuel tanker that needs to be delivered. So we can get those deliveries down 5th Street and then get them down either University or Albany to get to Ace Hardware and to Yesway. So I just want to let the council know that understandably, I think there's probably going to be some residents that are concerned and worried about seeing semi-traffic in residential areas, but we have to find a way to support these businesses that are being severely impacted by this road reconstruction, and to be able to route these delivery vehicles around the construction zone as it moves is something that we're going to have to, I believe, be on board with. So I just want to let council know that there will be semi-traffic in places that we typically wouldn't expect it. So,
Are those trucks going across the Minnetonka Bridge going to be an issue with weight restrictions?
there is a weight restriction there.
Yeah.
So if they're violating that, then yes. I've asked the police department to, pick up their patrols. Sergeant Lyons with the South Dakota Highway Patrol has also been a part of these conversations. What he has recommended is looking at what's referred to as a special permit that would be given to designated delivery drivers to know that they can be in those construction areas because they're delivering to our local businesses. Any other questions? All right. So our next council update, Library Director Mary.
Hello.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good. Thank you. All right. So Mary Toronis with the Hot Springs Public Library.
Please
the
get
public
closer
hear?
to the mic.
Sorry. Thought I was close enough. That good?
Yeah.
All right. So I did the tallies for this year from January through April. We have a total of 3,484 patrons currently actively taking out things in our library and checking out our computers and working on that. Material-wise, we have 25,280 titles in our collection, including books and DVDs, which is up from last year when we had 24,988, so we've added about 300 titles just in a couple of months. For cards, we've had new or renewed over these 4 months. We have 399, so it's a nice repeat of cards. For circulations, we're averaging about 2,000 articles, movies, books, magazines being checked out every month. We've had some workshops and webinars that everybody's been going to. I've sent Heather to Custer. We all went up to Rapid for a big conference for the library. And then Heather will leave June 4th through the 9th for her institute. So she's looking forward to that. And as soon as she gets back, June 12th through to July 21st will be summer reading. And we will have classes 4 days of the week for the different age groups. And she's getting very excited about all the different classes that she's going to offer to the kids.
Is that Monday through Thursday, or?
It's going to be 5 to 8 years old on Monday, 9 to 12 years old on Tuesday. Teenagers will come in on Wednesday, and then 4 and under will be on Thursday.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Are you still hiring?
We do still need one full-time position.
So if anybody knows anyone who wants to work at our wonderful library with their super great crew, send them our way.
Yes, we're definitely looking to get one more and add to the group I have.
Council, any questions for Mary?
A lot of good information on your report, Mary.
Thank you.
Are you showing a big improvement as far as younger kids coming in, with new people coming into town, moving into town?
I don't know the numbers from before last year because I just started. Last year we had pretty good turnout with the younger kids, not so much teenagers. It seems this year we're getting quite a few families in that are brand new and they're excited to bring their kids to summer readings, so we are seeing them coming to the library.
So it is growing.
Yes.
Good, good.
When you changed the use of your back room there, did you see the positive impact you were hoping for?
Our back room as in our break room, or?
Back where used to be more, almost strictly a playroom, and now it's more of I think a children's reading room.
It is a children's reading room. Definitely the families like going in there because the kids can choose different books and then they scatter out on cushions and read, or just play with the puzzles that are in their toys. So it's definitely being well used every day.
So it's more of a library now, library room than a
Yeah. The rest of the library
non-library
is
room.
much quieter with the kids being kept back in that area.
I have a question regarding the internet access. Looking at the annual number of public access, 9,500, and then annual wireless sessions of 6,500. Is the 6,500 in addition to the 95, or is that part of the 95?
I'm not sure.
Okay, if you can just,
It's page 8, if that's helpful to you.
Thank you.
Of the annual report, you bet.
Yes. I had a lot of help from the state librarian with this because not all the information was available when I tried to do the report. So,
so the question's not intended to put you on the spot if you need to check back with the folks.
Yeah.
Just get back with us.
Didn't know there'd be a test, did you?
so you want specifically what?
I'm wondering if, the 6,500 is part of the 9,500, or if we're actually looking at, 15,000. And is there a way for you to know if the wireless access, majority of that is happening from, people that are in the library, they just don't want to get on the library computers, but they want to do their research in there, or whether we've got a lot of drive-by users, that want to use the public access from the library sitting on the parking lot, and
There's quite a few cars every day out there with people on their computers and phones using our Wi-Fi.
Can you tell who's inside and outside from these session uses?
I don't think so. I think it's just a general, this is the hits we have on our Wi-Fi.
I see people sitting out in their cars a lot when I drive by.
Yes.
okay.
It's on days when, well, especially like Sunday when you're closed, there's people parking out in the parking lot.
Yeah, there were 3 cars out there using our internet when I came down here, so they're definitely using it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
On to personnel. Can I get a motion to approve personnel actions A through L?
Make a motion to approve personnel actions A through L.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Did you get it, Misty?
I got Dave is doing the second, thanks to those who could read my panic.
On to resolutions. Resolution 2023-10, a resolution to amend a citywide fee resolution.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-10, a resolution to amend the citywide fee resolution to remove recreation program baseball fees.
Second. Discussion? Jeff, I believe this one's yours.
Yeah, this is ours. Simply on these programs that we are now have agreements with private organizations, we're removing the standard record. In this case, it happens to do with baseball is the first one. I'm not sure we have soccer.
They're not
fees.
listed specifically, if you remember.
Right.
She switched it to an inclusive rate, and all-inclusive rate, those 4 different categories for recreation rates weren't based on the program. These were the only ones that
That's
were
what I meant
based
to
on the
say.
program.
So we're removing it from the fee structure.
So, people that's running the league gonna collect fees from these kids?
That's correct. They also, part of the agreement that we have now with both these organizations is they have to present, two things. One, they need to present annually before their season starts to council to give them a review of where they're at financially from last year, and then B, also to have you approve or concur with their rates. And it's just kind of there's no formality to it. It's just to ensure that council, it's for council to ensure that the prices that they charge are still reasonable and open to as many people as possible.
The only reason I'm asking is because all those coaches donated their money that went towards the fields. Is that still gonna happen?
They're going to do it. They're going to do it all themselves. All that money stays now with them, so they can spend that money, and primarily because those coaches are actually volunteering anyway. In the grand scheme of things, the money goes around. So now they'll have it all in the same pocket, and they'll be able to take care of the things they need to take care of, and then ultimately report back to council on what was done.
And one last thing, these kids, I mean, anybody can play. They can't turn any kid away.
No, and there's not the program for baseball specifically, it's not, I'm not sure about soccer, but for baseball specifically, they actually have what's the word I'm looking for?
Scholarship.
Thank you. That's
And
what I was
I
looking
believe
for.
Adam, when he was here with soccer, told us the same
Yeah, the
thing.
same
Both
thing.
of these groups have told you at one of these meetings that they want kids to play, and they have scholarships in place to support any kid who can't afford to play.
Thank you.
As Jeff had pointed out, the important part of this is to make sure that because the city isn't organizing the recreational activity, the organization that is doesn't price the kids that traditionally would want to participate in it, price them out of being able to afford to do it, that they still need to be able to participate in the summer rec programs. So that's why it's important for them, for council, to say that you like the fees that they're talking about. So.
Well, it's important for me because some families can't afford that.
Yeah. And that was one of the guiding things in these agreements, was that they report to council on that particular issue. That's the main one that we were concerned about. But once we lose control of that, we don't want them charging outrageous amounts of money to make money for the private organization.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. On to new business item A, approve and accept 2022 Public Library Survey.
I make a motion to approve and accept the 2022 South Dakota Public Library Survey.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Good job.
Yeah. Busy.
New business item B, review and approve 2022 annual report.
I make a motion to approve the 2022 annual report for the city of Hot Springs.
Second.
I didn't get the second.
You had three of them.
Which one do you want?
Johnston? Barvell?
Barvell.
Not you. Sorry.
Is this thing on? Hello, can y'all hear me? Can you hear me, Carl? Okay.
Bring it
Okay, so you got a motion and a second?
I have moved by Huddleston, seconded by Barvell.
That works.
Correct.
I'll take the blame.
You'll all get to vote.
I'm just going to give up.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Misty. New business item C, contract change order number 3.
Make a motion to approve the contract change order number 3 with Complete Concrete Subcontractor Core Construction, suspended sidewalk project number NH038500, PCN 07W3. This change order will increase the total contract cost by $18,278.26 to a new contract total of $3,944,633.31.
Second.
Bravo. Perfect.
Discussion? We talked about this at Admin Finance today. This particular one is the third change order with complete concrete related to the suspended sidewalk. The first change order was to increase the quantity of grout that actually went in the micropiles. The second change order was to bill for excise tax. The contractor didn't include excise tax on change order number 1. So change order number 3 was for the excise, number 2 was for the excise tax. This one, as is explained in the summary for the change order, an updated extended length of the prefabricated metal pedestrian bridge from 110 feet to 115. Length change required due to site utilities encountered upon excavation preparation for bridge foundation number 28. So there's a total of 28 foundations that go with the suspended sidewalk. This particular foundation they're talking about is the one for the second pedestrian bridge sidewalk that goes from the old turnaround area on North River Street over just north of the band shell. Well, when the suspended sidewalk was originally designed, the fibers that Golden West laid after the design weren't in place. So when they got to looking at the placement of that foundation, they recognized that the fibers were now in the way. So those bridge needed to be lengthened 5 feet to stay away from the fibers that Golden West put in. So that's the reason for this particular change order.
So we can pass this on to Golden West?
So that's the reason for this particular change order.
Nice try.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item D, contract change order number 4.
I make a motion to approve contract change order number 4 on the complete concrete subcontractor core construction suspended sidewalk project number NH038500 PCN 07W3. This change order does not increase the total contract cost or contract time.
Second.
Is this thing working?
I got you.
Bring it closer to you, Larry.
I was right here the whole time.
Speak up.
Carl.
She got you.
I got you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So thank you, Linda, for emphasizing that this change order does not increase the total contract cost. Again, in the explanations, change order is being issued to update the support structure schedule elevations due to minor DOT changes to adjacent curb sidewalk elevations. So there's a drawing attached. There are 4 of those foundations for the towers that the elevations, the final elevations needed to change because of DOT's changes. And they're saying there's no additional cost to change those elevations. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item E, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the facilities use agreement.
I make a motion to approve, can you hear me? And authorize the mayor to sign the facilities use agreement number 2023-9 between the city and the Hot Springs Youth Soccer Association, transferring program responsibility.
Second motion.
Oh, we had 3 of them.
Somebody had Wheaties today.
Did you settle on a second, Misty?
I gave it to Greg, that's whose voice I heard first. I don't
All
want
right.
y'all to shout at me, but thank you for your enthusiasm tonight.
Discussion? Jeff, this one's yours?
So this is further discussion that we already talked about regarding these two private organizations. Last last council, you approved the baseball. This is now the soccer organization. All the same basic structure and then the same basic agreement. And that's all the subject to your questions. That's all I've got.
All right, no questions?
They're in agreement with the baseball folks that they're going to share that. I don't know if you noticed, but on the soccer one, it gives them complete access to the fields at Butler Park, but Jeff has already talked to both groups, and they're going to work together to ensure that baseball has access when they need it. It's the softball fields, right?
Right, the softball
And
field. It's not a major
soccer
deal.
has
It's-
access when they need it.
Yeah, but baseball, we'll have first right of refusal on those fields, and then soccer has to work with them to make that work, so.
Any other questions?
I know I'm throwing a wrench in the monkey plans, but.
A wrench in the monkey.
Wrench in the monkey plans. But once again, touch base, they are aware that we have a national emergency that comes first. So
All bets are off if that, yes, absolutely.
just didn't
It's
think-
not in the contract per se like that, but
Right.
they are aware and everybody understands that all bets are off. We go to that situation.
All right, thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Looks like there's a question in there, Bill. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business, item F, approve authorized expenses not to exceed $5,000.
Make a motion to approve and authorize expenses not to exceed $5,000 to cover the cost of the survey to identify Southern Hills Golf Course encroachments on property to be funded by future supplemental appropriations.
Good.
I would just like to point out that that's encroachments on private property.
Is there quite a few out there? 'Cause I thought there's just one.
There's actually, I'm sorry, Bob, go ahead.
I believe there's 5 that have been identified.
Really?
I believe it was last year, council took an action to return some land on hole number, the tee box for number 3. Our tee box encroached on private property, so we moved it off of there. And there have been other properties that have been identified that when cart paths were put in or when the back 9 was developed, it ended up, city assets ended up on private properties. So we need to get that taken care of.
Is it only in the back 9 area?
Yes, as far as I know, Bob, unless you know something else. Only ones that I saw were the 5 on the back 9. And what's pressing the urgency on this is that one of those properties is now for sale. So it's going to come up in a title search, for sure. So we want to clean it up before it gets to that point.
Yeah. When you ask me the question that way, do I know?
Excuse me.
I believe it is only the back 9. We've asked the golf course advisory folks and Jason, to take a look at the properties they know that are our problems and get that to us so we can get those taken care of. So this is an estimated amount to have the surveys done on the affected properties. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item G, grant authorization to enter into a business relationship.
Make a motion to grant authorization to enter into a business relationship with City Service Valcon for airport fuel.
Second.
Linda?
All right.
Deb, thank you.
Discussion.
Is this ongoing or still going to bid on the lowest fuel?
We'll always bid, and we'll always ask for 3 bids for the lowest fuel. I think we're doing this because This outfit came up with the lowest bid for the first time in a long time, and so we have to establish a relationship with them.
It's their requirement that council approve this. Typically, we would just fill out this paperwork and you would approve the claim, but this organization specifically in their requirements wanted the board's approval, the council's approval to set up the charge account.
Any other questions?
That's a first.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item H. Renew the following 2023 through 2024 malt beverage licenses.
I make a motion to renew the following 2023-2024 malt beverage licenses. The American Legion Post Number 71, Big Bats LLC, Big Time Pizza, Black Hills Pizza Hut, Buffalo Dreamer Restaurant LLC, CS Inc. doing business as Winter Circle, Dakota Mart Inc. doing business as Dakota Mart Convenience, Dollar General Midwest LLC doing business as Dollar General Store number 18181. Okay. Family Dollar Stores of South Dakota LLC number 27126, Frankie's Place LLC, Frog Projects LLC doing business has The Space, Good Karma Couture LLC doing business has Morning Sunshine, His Loft Properties LLC, MG Oil Company doing business has Corner Pantry number 11A and 11B, Southern Hills Golf Course, Southern Hills Mercantile LLC, Springs Hotel LLC doing business as Springs Coffee Kiosk, Springs Steakhouse, Stanwell LLC doing business as Riverfront Gallery, and Wooly's Western Grill.
Second. Good job, Linda.
The oxygen after that one.
Only had,
That restaurant across from the depot, that's been closed for quite a while, they have a beer license. I didn't see it in here. Did they let that go, or?
They must not be renewing if it's not listed on here.
You mean-
These aren't the numbered ones. You could come back in at any time.
You mean the restaurant that was known as the Daily Bread?
Yeah.
I didn't know that they served alcohol.
When it was JP's, I think it had liquor, but I don't know that Daily Bread.
Daily
I
Bread, I don't think.
think they did.
Bread and a beer license.
No.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item I, set a public hearing on May 15th, 2023.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to set a public hearing on May 15th, 23 at 7:10 PM on the special sale alcohol beverage license applications from HS Chamber of Commerce for the Chamber Wine Walk events to be held on May 26th of 23 from 4:30 PM to 8 PM at the following locations: Minnetonka Coffee LLC at 503 North River Street, Polished Salon and Spa, 401 North River Street, Changing Seasons Floral at 323 South Chicago Street, and Chautauqua Craftsmen and Artisans of the Black Hills at 629 North River Street.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item J, special sale alcoholic beverage license application.
Make a motion to approve a special sale alcohol beverage license application from CS Inc., doing business at Winter Circle for the Challenge Dakota event to be held on 5/29/23 at Centennial Park.
Second.
Discussion. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item K, a possible motion discussion to recognize and record the name of the supplier.
Make a motion to recognize and record the name of the supplier, the purchase of 4,000 gallons of 100 LL Aviation gasoline by the Hot Springs Municipal Airport as required by South Dakota Codified Law 5-18C-6. Purchase made with City Service Falcon LLC for a total cost of $4.51 a gallon. Other vendors considered were Accent Aviation Group, World Fuel at $4.99 a gallon plus delivery fee, and Epic Aviation LLC at $4.97 a gallon plus delivery fee.
Second.
Dave?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Did
It's
I?
okay.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item L, reappoint Cheryl Huddleston.
I make a motion to reappoint Cheryl Huddleston to the Library Board for a 3-year term, 2023 to 2026.
Second.
She was first.
Thank you.
Got your second?
I got a couple.
And a third and a fourth.
Okay, discussion? Took us a while to get to you, Cheryl. Say, it took a while for us to get to you. So you're on board with this? Yeah. All right.
A little late now.
Now that it's out in the public, so.
Not yet. The vote hasn't been taken. So. We're
How
good.
long have you been on the board? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Any questions for Cheryl?
Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you for being willing to be reappointed. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
You want to say what?
That's family support at its best.
It's family.
Well, congratulations or condolences, whichever is appropriate. New business item M, travel training request from the PD SRO.
Make a motion to approve travel training request from Police Department School Resource Officer Thomas McMillan to attend the grant writing training in Pierce, South Dakota on May 17th through May 19th, 2023.
Second.
That's what.
Discussion?
I guess I gotta ask. Is that for the police department grant
Yes.
or the school?
Specific to public safety.
PD.
School.
PD.
PD.
They don't have nobody to write grants,
At the police department?
don't they? Must not. Or they wouldn't be sending somebody, right?
I would guess.
Well, they'd be utilized throughout the city, wouldn't they?
It's specific for public safety grants, if you read through the information on the training. Directly related to law enforcement.
Okay.
Thank you, Misty.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item N, travel training request from Evans Plunge Mineral Springs Aquatic Director.
I make a motion to approve the travel training request from the Evans Plunge Mineral Springs Aquatics Director, Okoye Zimiga, to attend the lifeguard and the lifeguard instructor recertification session in Rapid City, South Dakota on 4/22/23.
Second.
Discussion.
Is he already,
She?
already, I thought, hey, excuse me, ma'am, is she already certified for to be an instructor?
Yes.
That's why it's renewal?
Yep.
Yep.
Where are they taking the mileage off of?
Their travel and conference budget.
No, I mean, what scale is being used?
Our current reimbursement rate is 51 cents a mile. We follow the state rate.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item O, travel training request from Tom Nas.
I make a motion to approve travel training request from Tom Nas, the Evans Plunge Mineral Springs Building and Ground Maintenance to attend the Certified Pool Operator recertification training in Rapid City on 4/26 and 4/27 of 2023.
Second.
Discussion. I would just like to point out what both of these travel training requests. On the request, Chris points out that they were unable to request approval prior to training, as both these classes were made available after the last council meeting. But they were both necessary training. But because council's approving training that's already happened, just wanted to point out why that's the case. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. On to our committee reports, Administrative and Finance, JR, Melissa?
Melissa has.
Let's see. Administrative and Finance met today, May 1st at 1 p.m. here at the Mueller Center. The first item we discussed was the recent expenses coming into the wastewater facility and the sidewalk change orders, which we discussed tonight already. We discussed the clothing allowance policy that the city has been working on to outline the clothing allowance for police department, utilities, and maintenance. It's currently in draft. They hope to have it out soon. We discussed the different city parcels the land owns out in Hot Brook Canyon, the 4.1 acres adjacent to the Simon Quarry near Evergreen Cemetery. This committee recommended that Mayor Nelson contact Simon to see if they would be interested in the property. We also discussed the 7 plus or minus acres north of the Hayden's property in Hot Brook Canyon. And the committee tasked Missy with contacting Anderson for a platting quote for a possible future sale. We discussed the 100 plus acres in Hot Brook Canyon pumping station. We find it important to keep it in conservatory, and we're going to reach out to some conservatory like Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation to see if they might have possible interest in it. Reviewed the utility fees for 2024. We're currently working with Midwest Assistance on calculating rates. Will be completed by the maximum of October of 2023. Proposed changes to personnel policy, no new information available. Proposing steps, we're still working through that. We'll send out what she has. Misty will send out what she has, but no change currently. We discussed the possible donating land to the female veteran housing. We determined that it was not financially responsible for us to look at donating that right now. We're going to look at the possible, the current value of the land. Misty reported that she got the SDPAA 23 renewal policy today, but she didn't have her question answered if we're going to increase in liability, so we're going to wait on any of that. Missy reviewed the finance policy officer, her current 2023 audit was completed. We'll hear back in June from the audit committee at the June 23rd meeting.
20th.
20th. Let's see, double check that. This year is a combined school election with city and school. There's a budget workshop for South Dakota Municipal League in June on June 21st. Misty had just completed the audit, so now she's looking at the proposed budget for 2026 or 24. And Deb asked about the police car vehicle repairs. They were due to emergency, thank you. Accidents. One was due to ice, and the other was due to an obstruction that was not seen. And we discussed, the last thing we discussed was a message from Tracy asking for a policy for the utilities, and which would also be included when we get the policy manual coming out for clothing allowance. And I believe that's it.
Any questions for Melissa?
Now, that budget, like we went last year, June 21st, where's that going to be at?
Pier.
In Pier?
Yep, from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
I have asked if they're going to offer it virtually, and I haven't gotten a response yet.
Okay.
But I don't think so.
Thank you.
And the next meeting is June 5th. No, not June.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, June already.
June 5th, 1 o'clock.
1 p.m. at the Mueller Center.
JR, anything you'd like to add?
Nope, thank you for taking over today.
Thank you, Melissa. Airport Advisory, Bill?
Next airport advisory meeting is Thursday, May 4th, 8:30 at the airport.
Thank you. Custer Fall River Regional Waste Management, Craig?
Your next meeting is this month at the Miller Center.
The 11th,
I was going to say that's the 11th,
7 p.m.
7 o'clock.
Is that on your schedule now?
It's not his birthday.
Thank you. Historic Preservation, Deborah?
We meet this Wednesday, the 3rd, 5 p.m. here at the Mueller Center.
Thank you. Evans Plunge Advisory, Linda?
We will meet May 11th at noon.
Thank you. Parks Recreation, Larry?
We're going to meet this Wednesday at 2 p.m. here at the Mueller Center. Everyone is invited.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning, Deborah?
The last planning and zoning meeting was canceled, and our next one is May 17th at 7 p.m. at City Hall.
Thank you. Public Safety, Bill, JR?
Public Safety meets this Thursday, May 4th, 2 p.m. at the Mueller Center Conference Room.
Thank you. Public Works, Dave, Craig?
April 25th to 1 p.m. here at the Mueller Center, we had a meeting. We had added some new business. Sheridan Pacific Road finished. We discussed the Mueller Center soccer field irrigation. It was a fairly quick meeting, but I'm skipping too far. Those in attendance were Mayor Bob Nelson, City Administrator Jeff Temple, Craig Romey, Tracy Bastian, Billy Morrow, Dusty Pence, and myself. Ms. Pence was there. We discussed prior to her showing up. She was a little late for the discussion, but we did go over it with her. The stair run, her climb, we're going to have a couple of those. She had originally 5 sets of stairs that she would use during this program. But we can't really do the repairs on some of the stairs just due to the fact there's no foundation up underneath it, so we are keeping those closed. So she will have 3 working. How she does the program, we will find out as far as how many steps or how many stairs she's going to actually do. She might come back around and do one that they started off on, so we're not really sure how that's going to work. Discussed with the Macedonia slab, and also for the Macedonia, that's an ADA slab for pickup and drop off. That's pretty much what we hit. It was a short meeting, shorter than normal. Craig, you want to add anything to that?
No.
And our next meeting is going to be, just to double check myself, May 9th, 1 p.m. here at the Mueller Center. Everybody is welcome to come to the meetings with either a complaint or,
Suggestion.
whatever we can help you with.
I did want to comment, the mayor left early from our meeting.
Go to another meeting, yeah. But,
Excuse me.
that's it. That's all we have. That's all I have. Oh, I'm sorry. Sons of American Legion flagpole, that is taken down. Everything's been removed, and they are presently working on that.
So for the public, Dave was talking about 2 sets of stairs, the ones by the fire hall and the ones by the Episcopal Church. Last couple of years, the city crews have been doing what they can to try to keep those in usable condition, and it's just not working out. They're old stairs. The concrete is failing from inside out. It's been very labor intensive. They actually mix the concrete up and bring it down in 5-gallon buckets and trying to patch these. And the decision has been made that those are going to stay closed until we can figure out what a long-term solution is. And I'm concerned that the long-term solution is the actual replacement, the entire replacement of both sets of stairs. But they will stay closed for safety reasons until we can get a handle on what the best path forward for both of those sets of stairs are.
I do have one comment, I'm sorry. We did talk about the irrigation system at Centennial Park, and we had all plans to do it, and now I think we're going to change our plans. So we'll give you more information once we figure it out.
And just so everybody knows, we are going to do some research to, as far as the stairs go, what can be done and whether or not we can keep that same kind of look that goes along with the rest of the community. But from what I've seen so far, I haven't seen anything as far as like the rock and stuff that we have now. So we might be looking at something a little more modern, but with a antique twist to it. But we're still just starting to look.
Recognizing they are in a historic district.
Thank you very much.
Well, I said, and this is just me again, but I said, if we go back to historical, they'd be wooden. So,
Well, that does bring to a point that I would someday love to put the boardwalk back in place on Boardwalk Hill. So, with boards. So that would be something down the road.
Hard for me to go up the hill.
But to let people know how difficult the stair thing is, a few months ago, we got someone just to kind of off the top of their head mention what it would cost for them to replace those steps, someone who does concrete. And they said something to the tune of $80,000 or $90,000. So maybe some community support and fundraising might be really helpful to consider because that's a huge thing, but it's a necessity. Those staircases are needed to get around town. But we can't do it at the moment.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Southern Hills Golf Course, Jeff?
Golf course, obviously, we are now in full swing with the weather, so we're hopefully past the winter pieces here, so we are operational, and the turnout has been great. As you all know, PJ Wetzel has departed the area, and Miss Jill Lowe is the acting golf course manager. You voted on her tonight on the rate of pay. We've got 10 new golf carts in. We're going to hold off for now on the scooters and the beverage cart with PJ leaving. I'd like to be sure we have a handle on the basics before we go any further. Our next meeting is scheduled 3 May. It's Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the golf course. Subject to your questions on golf course, I'll move into whatever I am, city administrator. I'm confused. On the city admin side, we will begin enforcement of the nuisance ordinance for those properties that were included in the legal notices recently. And on 4 May, we should start with the towing of those vehicles. We've got 2 more letters on that note, waiting for legal review to address buildings in the historic district that have been identified as deterioration by neglect, and that will be the next phase of our nuisance abatement program. Further kudos to the airport. We continue to get positive comments on the AirNav system, which is where pilots are able to provide comments. I'll read one brief one. This kind of summarizes all of them. Quote, we stopped by recently just before the 6-inch snowstorm. Rick was extremely helpful in managing our stay, including providing a courtesy car, motel, list of hotels, restaurants, and a heated hangar. Great fuel prices, wonderful place to stop. Can't say enough about how good the facility is. Always nice things to hear, and that's pretty much the common thread that we get on AirNav. I have had 2 applicants now for the summer recreation director position. I have not had a chance to review those yet. We're still accepting them. And that kind of goes back to the original conversation about baseball and soccer, where we do have those 2 agreements in place. So that's done there. On a follow-up on soccer, one last thing. The season actually kicked off this past Saturday by them hosting the Levi McDill Soccer Festival, and it looks like our estimates are about 2,000 visitors to town for that one-day event. So it's always a good thing. And that's all I've got, subject to questions on that.
We are administrator, are we gonna get the baseball and soccer program back to the city?
Probably not.
I don't think.
When do you, I'm sorry, I know it's not the question, Craig. Do I want to take it back, is what you're saying? Oh, if we get the director.
Yeah.
That's kind of to be, not for this season, I can tell you that right now. This season, we're in place, we're operational. If the contracts, if the agreements with private organizations are successful, which I appear they're going to be, we most likely will try and always allow private organizations to do that for us.
So why would we need a director for that?
Remains to be seen, because there's still a number of programs that can be done during the summer for the kids out of school. I haven't decided either way on that to make a recommendation. Larry and I will work on this a little further. And your point is valid. If we don't have those in-house, then do we have to worry about it? Well, that's something I think the council will have to decide in the next 30 days.
Especially a full-time one.
I'm sorry?
It's just part-time.
Oh, it's just part-time seasonal. It's the one that, I forget the total number of hours. I think you approved 1,100 this year or something, I forget. But the point is, it's only summer, it's only seasonal, and it's part-time. So there's still a lot of things that can be done for the kids. Whether we want to go down that road or not, we'll decide that here shortly.
A couple of programs that come to mind are the swimming lessons and the golf course. Those 2 have been very popular with the summer rec.
I know that's hard to come up with the cliche, but we've always done it this way, but Hot Springs has had a really good recreation program for decades, and I really don't want to see it go away. It has covered preschoolers all the way up, and under our last director, it was expanding into the seniors. We have a higher rate of people over 55 in this town anymore compared to the younger, and those are active people who want recreation, and that's part of what a community can offer to its citizens is an active program like that. So the last director was trying to make the program go year-round for that reason, and I certainly don't want to really just drop that.
Prior to that, Joyce Farrell did it and didn't take any money for it. She just done it all the time, for years.
Weren't we spoiled?
How lucky were we?
We were very spoiled.
She did a good job, too, a very good job.
Yes, she did.
But there, she just ran the summer program. But we had the summer program because of her all those decades. And so we need to keep quality of life issues here in thought. And
I think, Jeff, when we get a chance, let's just sit down and talk about it.
Absolutely, anytime.
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you.
Sure.
Finance Officer, Misty?
I did provide you with a monthly report. I'm not going to go through that for you, but I do recommend you review the information contained in it. I do just want to point out, since Ariel is here with us, one update in that report. Congratulations for receiving both the South Dakota Governmental Human Resources Association and the South Dakota Governmental Finance Officers Association scholarships this year for a total of $470 to help support the city with the cost to send her to those two conferences this year in June. So thanks for taking the effort to apply. Thanks for having such a good application, and congratulations for getting two of those. The other thing I'm going to take the time during my report to cover are the highlights from the 2022 annual report you approved at this meeting. As you know, we have a modified accrual basis for accounting, and what that means is we have governmental funds and enterprise funds. And so the basis we present our financials to include two different ones. Our 6 governmental funds are accounted for and reported differently because they're not like businesses, and they don't ordinarily provide services as a means to an end, like a profit. Our enterprise funds, however, do, and we have 5 of those. So we have 11 total funds in the city, and for each one of those numbers on that annual report that are provided, there's a story to tell. And I'm not going to read through all this story as I have in the past, because there's a lot of pages, but I want to highlight a few things. In our general fund, there are 25 general fund departments, and they're primarily funded by sales tax and property tax. I have a nice summary of the total value of the property located in city limits for 2022. It increased by 12.46%. So we had $23,231,904 in increase of total property value. That sounds great. It seems like we should get a whole bunch more property tax, but I want you to remember that we are restricted by the amount of property tax that we can collect. So what happens when the values increase, but we can only increase our levy by $38,967? Well, our mill levy goes down. So the amount of property tax to our citizens, the percentage of that went down 0.08% to 5.98%. So although we don't get a huge increase in our property taxes we can collect as a result of that growth, it does lower our mill levy, essentially lowering the taxes that people that own property in the city are charged by the city. Our expenditures, we increased, originally we projected $3,302,740, and our expenditures totaled $4,460,691.08. We did supplementally appropriate budgets for things like housing study, some residential tax rebates, some transfers we made for construction costs related to the suspended sidewalk. We added full-time employees. We purchased loaders and backhoes. We got a new server at the City Hall. We bought a new police vehicle. We did repairs. We increased supplies and clothing. We had some heating system repairs at the Mueller Center. It's been so nice and hot and so cool when we want it to be for all those repairs last year to the heating system here. We increased recreation salaries and wages. We bought courtesy cars at our airport. And we received over $1 million from our insurer for hail damage claims on various buildings. These funds remain unspent as of the end of the year. So without those dollars, our general fund would have shown a loss, but instead had a gain of $697,840. Our second governmental fund is our liquor, lodging, and dining fund. It collected 128% of anticipated revenues, exceeding our projections for the year, but it was a 4% decrease from 2021. As you know, the money we collect for that fund helps support our chamber, and the other 20% available helps us with expenses related to this Mueller Civic Center and our depot. There was a 2021 insurance claim that was paid out for the depot roof. As of the end of 2022, those funds still remain unspent. That fund had a gain of a little over $11,000. Our additional sales tax fund uses 1/3 of our sales tax that's collected. That fund had two subsidies budgeted, one for the golf course and one for Evans Plunge, but neither were needed in 2022 due to the success in those enterprise funds, saving our additional sales tax fund $353,704 of budgeted money that remained unspent. In great deal, a part of that, the fund had a gain of $126,000. Our Business Improvement District Fund, or our 213 fund, that is the collection of the $2 bid tax that's charged to all heads in the beds. They collected $84,888 in revenues last year. It was down 14.8% over the year before, but still over our projected revenue amounts, which is why we're modest in revenue projections and try to be as close as possible in our expenditure projections each year. The bid board had many activities that supported the city, and I detailed those in this report, and they had a gain of a little over $17,000. The 501 fund, or our capital improvement fund, we're just moving big dollars back and forth for the sidewalk from that fund. Because at the end of the year, we had transferred a little over 1.5 million into that fund from other funds of the city, it had a gain of $422,868. But early in 2023, we transferred that money back out. So if you look at your year-to-date reports for the 501 fund, you see a significant red number. The last governmental fund of the city is the Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund. Because we got permission from the cemetery board to purchase a new mower, that fund showed a loss of $3,398. But we do have a surplus in the amount we have set aside for perpetual care, and a additional mower was needed. So I summarized the capital asset additions for governmental funds. So these are purchases for equipment that was over $5,000 and reaches our capitalization threshold. Now I'm going to talk just a little bit about our enterprise or proprietary funds. The water fund has a gain, but that's also largely due to the capitalized assets, which include the water infrastructure improvements and the SLFRF grant money that was received. There were $8,099 of SDPAA-related hail damage claims on water department buildings that remain unspent, and the fund had a gain of $884,000. The wastewater fund also had a gain, $484,000. There were $96,000, a little over $96,000 in hail damage claims on wastewater buildings that are unspent at the end of the year, and also the gain is largely due to the capitalized assets and grant money. Our solid waste fund, we collect money for garbage collection, and then we pay out 100% of the municipal garbage service collected to the provider. But we also collect $2.25 as a city fee on each utility account, which supports refuge tote purchases and our free dump weeks. That fund had a gain of $682, so largely due to the purchase of some new totes, and those don't last very long, so that's an ongoing expense. The golf course fund had a gain of $101,000. They used no subsidy, but the gain was largely due to the $134,000 in SDPAA-related hail damage claims that also remain unspent. One of the things I point out in this fund is the clubhouse wall repairs are a high priority for 2023, and we've, in the last 2 years, spent over $25,000 in plans for repairing that wall, but no actual repair has been completed. So that does remain a high priority item for 2023. Evans Plunge, our other enterprise fund that had a subsidy planned but did not need any of it, also had a gain. They would have had a gain regardless of the hail damage claim money. They did receive $240,000. They had a gain of $278,000. We do need to do some roof repairs at that building, but they had a good year where revenues were not quite at projection, but high enough to cover all the expenses that they had. And they did do a few capitalized repairs that are summarized for you. That's the second time since purchasing the facility that no subsidy was needed. So we did add 2 new debt agreements last year for the backhoe and the loader. And I do have a summary of all the debt that the city paid in 2022 and how much is left for each of those. Some highlights from the year would include obviously our 2 large construction contracts that were awarded. I did point out the original estimates and the current contract price in each of those, and the sidewalk contract price currently that I listed doesn't include these last change orders you just approved. Something else that we were able to do besides our large construction contracts was we updated our housing study, last done in 2016. We also approved free use of city land and water to a group which implemented a community garden that's been very successful in starting their next year. Sadly, we were forced to withdraw our grant acceptance for the planned road project around the schools. That includes portions of 17th Street, 19th Street, Lincoln, Washington, and Jennings. That was due to funding concerns, but this project remains a high priority for future improvements. We also approved some money to assist the city with our wayfinding signage program. These are just some of the highlights. If I've left something out that you think should be mentioned or noted, please let me know. I encourage each of you to review the annual report and the complete audit reports when they're available. And if you have questions or want any more information about any of the topics, please don't hesitate to ask. I provided the profit loss summary by fund you're used to seeing for the whole year of 2022 and a balance sheet for each one of our funds. Thanks.
Any questions for Misty?
We did a lot.
I was going to say, we haven't been sitting still.
Nope. A lot to report on.
Yes, there was quite a lot to report on, and thank you. You did a great job. Misty had mentioned the clubhouse wall repair through Public Works and golf course. We've been following the wall, asking Jason to keep a look at it, keep a look on it, and see, if it's failing anymore. Currently, it's not shifting significantly. There was a spot on the northeast end of it that some rocks had shifted, but we're looking to find somebody that will build a wall consistent with the design from Mike Albertson's that you folks approved a design. I think that was $25,000 that we'd ask him to do. So we're following it closely. We're making sure we take a good look at the wall and that and we're not putting safety at risk or the building at risk. So we are following that one. I don't have anything for you tonight, so that brings us to a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
She needs it to take longer.
I'm just saying, if your boss had to go so